Hello and welcome back to Acorn Hobbies. I know it has been quite a hiatus. I have had a bunch going on in my personal life right now, but I am back with our Set 3 spoiler review. A lot of my favorite YouTubers, back when I used to play Hearthstone, would review the spoilers for the season and the release and all that stuff. They would do so as cards were coming out. And while that worked sometimes, I found that the best reviews were always after the whole season the whole spoiler season had occurred. Therefore, you could evaluate within the context of the full set. And that's what I've chosen to do today. So, I will be breaking this down into 5 different parts. You can watch all of them back to back to back. They will be releasing daily as the rest of the week goes on, leading up into next week's big pre-release weekend. So, you can watch these as they release each day. I'm going to be breaking it down by color. So we'll go blue, green, red, yellow, and then villain, hero, neutral. We will look at each one of those, evaluating it within the whole context of the set and the metagame. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right on in. The first cards that we have to talk about with Twilight of the Republic are the Clone Trooper and Battle Droid tokens. These are 1/1 and 2/2 tokens. The Battle Droid is villainy. The Clone Trooper is heroism. The Battle Droid is a Separatist droid trooper. And the Clone Trooper is a Republic clone trooper. I admittedly am a little sad that they are shooting the same direction. I wish that they were mirrored. But I guess that if you're facing each other from across the table, then it kind of works. I don't know. Either way, these cards matter a lot. They will be in a bunch of these different cards. They will be created by these cards. You're going to find them on the back of bases for this set. So be very excited about that. Also, because we have these Battle Droid and Clone Trooper tokens, there are no shield or experience tokens in this set. So they've been very upfront about saying that there are going to be no shielded units or anything like that. I know that has made some people frustrated, especially with our Droideka, and we'll get there when we get there. But I think that this is a really, really neat design space. This is our first token units for SWU, and it's created some awesome cards. So without further ado, let's hop on in to our very first leader, blue villain. This is Nala Se, Clone Engineer. Ignore the aspect penalty on clone units you play. This is a Kaminoan leader with the epic action. If you control 4 or more resources, deploy this leader. She's a 1/7. Still with Kaminoan, and then you can ignore the aspect penalty on clone units you play, and each friendly clone unit gains, when defeated, heal 2 damage from your base. So, this leader is pretty cool. I am excited to have the ignore the aspect penalty on clone units you play, as a general effect. I think this is going to be way more applicable than, even Hera's ability, just because clone units are going to be everywhere. I think that a lot of the reason that you would want to run Nala Se is for the heroic clones that are so strong or have the potential to be so strong. We've already seen in earlier sets cards like Omega and Crosshair, and you've seen, Wrecker is a big one. You've got Wolf. There are some strong clones from these earlier sets, but then there's also strong clones in this new set, believe it or not. I mean, who would have thought that in a set around the Clone Wars, there's strong clones. So I think Nala Se will see play. I think that she's a really, really exciting option for limited too, because it means that you can just take the best clone units that are passed your way if you're drafting or if you are playing limited. I think that it's just a strong option. So I'm really, really excited about seeing Nala Se. I think that a 4-cost 1/7 is a really strong body, especially with that clone gets a win defeated, heal 2 damage from your base. That feels pretty strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this leader see play in a mid-range sort of deck. Maybe there's some sort of aggro deck that is happy to not have a leader that provides a bunch of tempo, but instead have a leader that provides some value and longevity against other aggro decks. And just the fact that you have a bunch of clones means that you can run the best clones and go really fast. Who knows? I'm excited to deck build with Nala Se, though. I think that there's a lot of options. It's going to be a tough thing to deck build, but it's going to be a really, really cool one. So, she's pretty cool. We've also got Newt Gunray, the Vindictive Viceroy. He is a blue villain leader, of course, Separatist official with the action, if 2 or more exhaust this unit, if 2 or more friendly units were defeated this phase, create a battle droid token. And then you can deploy at 6. He's a 2/8 with an on attack. Create a battle droid token. So I think he is the exploit leader that doesn't give exploit, but is happy when there is exploit. You'll notice that he is also there in Petronaki Arena at the beginning, or at the very end of episode 2. Dooku is also right there in his card art. I think in Twin Suns, they fit perfectly together. Beyond that, I will have to wait and see as to whether or not blue will be a color that will want to run tons and tons and tons of exploit. They have the payoff, but do they have the generation? Green seems to be where we get a lot of our token generation, with yellow getting some as well. I could see it maybe if you're splashing in green and maybe you've got some extra green options, but we'll see. I think that his leader side is fine. His leader unit side is better as a 2/8 that creates a battle droid token, effectively like a 3/9. That's where we see like Thrawn. But he doesn't have a tempo ability. It's more of a value ability. So you want to have good cards in your hand. So I think it all depends on how you are creating these token units. You'll see that there are a few cards in Blue Villain that actually help create battle droids, and for that reason, I think that we might see some Newt Gunray in these like really value-heavy exploit decks. Up next, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Patient Mentor. He's a Force Jedi Republic with the action Exhaust this leader, heal 1 damage from a unit. He deploys at 6 with a 4/7. He's got Sentinel, and on attack, heal 1 damage from a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to a different unit. I think Obi-Wan is going to be the king of dirtling. Being able to heal 1 damage from a unit and just soft pass, but like also pass in a way that doesn't let your opponent take the initiative and in the round, like that's really strong. So I think that Obi-Wan might be the sort of like control leader, maybe a board-based control leader that heroism kind of needed. He also comes out with Sentinel, which is really, really strong. And a 4/7 body is what we see standard on a 6-cost leader. So him getting Sentinel is just like, that's icing on the cake. I do wonder if there was some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of greater ability for Obi-Wan, because I like his on attack on his leader side, or on his unit side, but his like leader side is just a little bland. It's not going to be bad by any means, but I think it's probably not like super duper exciting either. There are cards that synergize with this. Perhaps there will be more in the future. But as of right now, I think that it's probably just going to be a standard exhaust and heal a damage from a unit. And maybe that's good. If there's just a super like mid-range based meta, which we've seen some of already, maybe healing a damage from a unit and dirtling like that is the way to go. And then we got Yoda. He is sensing darkness. He has the action Exhaust this leader. If a unit left play this phase, draw a card. Then put a card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. He's got the Force Jedi Republic tags, and when you flip him, he has Restore 2 as a 4/9, and when deployed, you may discard a card from your deck. If you do, defeat an enemy non-leader unit that costs the same as or less than the discarded card. Yoda seems sweet. Filter is going to be really, really strong as you are trying to play Yoda, who is a later deploy. You're going to want to be able to filter into your cards that can either get you to 7 resources or can get you value when you're at 7 resources. And that is what Yoda's leader side does. He also sets up perfectly for his when deployed. You are not going to have to risk whether or not this will hit, because you are going to be able to do Yoda's action. And if a unit left play this phase is not a tough thing to trigger, the only thing that's going to be really tough with is against those like super duper hard control matchups. But then it's just your own units leaving play rather than you removing your opponent's units. I think that this is going to be really, really strong. The fact that you draw a card and then you stack the deck on top or bottom is really neat too. You're not just filtering stuff from your hand to the top of your deck. You're filtering stuff to the bottom of your deck, which can be really good for if you're playing against a mill strategy, which we'll talk more about later. I think Yoda's really cool. I think that blue-green hero is already like a neat design space that we've seen with the likes of Luke and Rey. I think that Yoda fits right there into that whole category of blue-green hero. Like, green feels like the obvious option with this because you're wanting to ramp into bigger things. Yoda is a big unit himself. A 4/9 Restore 2, like, that's scary. Rival's Fall is about the only thing that really scares that on deploy. So I'm excited. I think Yoda's going to be awesome. This is the rare base for blue. I didn't put the common bases. They're all 30 health. But the rare bases are neato. This one is POW City. It's a 26 health base, and each leader unit you control gets +0/+1. You're getting an additional health. Is that worth 4 health on your base? Maybe it's worth it on like Obi-Wan because he has Sentinel, or Chewbacca because he has Sentinel and Grit. But maybe that 4 health would let you get to your leader for that to matter. And without that 4 health, you might die. I don't know if I love this one. It's not as big of a jump as the rare base from set 1, the 25 health give a shield one. Like, it's there on Scarif. Shield generator complex, something like that. I don't know. That is a better base for like your tempo plays. This is a better base for your defensive, strong leader plays. And I think that both of them probably don't make the cut. I almost always would rather have a 30 health base, but maybe it is worth it for some of these leaders that want to remain out there on the field for longer. I don't know how many of them there are, but perhaps we will find one in this set. Then we are entering into our villainy blue units. This is Rune Hako. He's a scheming second, a 3/2 for 2. When played, if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, you may give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. Separatist Official, I think it's pretty okay. I don't know how often -1/-1 comes into play unless you're playing against another token deck, which maybe that is just the way that you go, is that you can like exploit in a bunch of stuff, defeat your own units, and then stop your opponent from getting to exploit their stuff. If exploit's everywhere, it seems like Rune Hako might not be a bad choice. You also don't mind playing a 3/2 for 2 at the very beginning of the game. Like, it's not a big deal at all. So, not the worst thing in the world. He is an official, which is very, very important because officials will trigger in Emperor's Royal Guard. And Emperor's Royal Guard is a 3 cost. So any 2 cost official automatically makes me think, okay, this could go into Blue Palpatine. We may have so many officials now that we don't need Rune Hako, but this is a more aggressively statted one. So I can totally see this seeing some play. Then we've got the Wartime Trade Official, which, speaking of Separatist officials, at 2, he is a 2-cost 1/3 with when defeated, create a Battle Droid token. If there is a better official that just blows Rune Hako out of the water, it's this guy. Maybe you run them together, but this guy is awesome, especially in Palpatine. He's an official, so he's turning on Imperial Royal Guard, and then he is giving you a Battle Droid token, which either works for exploit or works for Palpatine's ability. So I totally think that Wartime Trade Official is going to see some play. He is slow, but I think you're okay with that. If you're playing this, you're wanting to get the exploit effect more than you are the body, because you're getting the bigger bodies early. It's a soft ramp. So I think that this is the way to go with Wartime Trade Official. Maybe we'll see both of them seeing play in the same deck because they have that same similar desire. But who knows? This is the Calculating Magna Guard. It's a 3-cost 3/4 Separatist droid with a win played, and when a friendly unit is defeated, this unit gains Sentinel for the phase. I think this guy is pretty neat. 3-cost 3/4 with Sentinel is already prime. 3-cost 3/4 with Conditional Sentinel is awkward at times when you're facing aggro, but also really strong when you're wanting to maybe make it so your opponent has a tougher choice because you have a Sentinel out there with this Sentinel. Then they have to attack that first Sentinel before you give them this one. That way then maybe they can't make as clean of a trade as you would like. I think that this is actually a really, really neat card. I expect to see a lot of it as we go throughout this upcoming metagame, because a 3-cost 3/4 Sentinel with tags that are relevant of Separatist and Droid, that seems pretty solid. I think we'll see this guy. Then I think we'll see this guy for sure. A 3-cost 4/4 Separatist Official, General Grievous Trophy Collector. You ignore the aspect penalty on each lightsaber upgrade you play on this unit, and on attack, if this unit has 4 or more lightsaber upgrades attached to them, defeat 4 enemy units. This is our first legendary, and boy, is it a cool one. I think Grievous is probably a 3-cost 4/4 with an empty text box, but on the off chance that you want to make the ultimate lightsaber deck, this guy's your guy. I think it'll be really tough to actually get a bunch of lightsaber upgrades on Grievous, even with the support cards that he was given in the new lightsabers this set, but also his A Fine Edition card, which we'll get to in a little bit. I think that it's just a neat card, though. 3 cost 4/4 is strong. This is a strong tempo play. Blue green, like mid range control decks will actually really like this, just to have big presence on the board. This guy's pretty cool. He's going to see a lot of play. I think he's going to be a legendary with decent value, probably in like the 10, 15 buck range, maybe a little bit higher than that. He's pretty awesome. And I expect to see someone come up with some awesome deck where you're able to just, load up a bunch of lightsabers on like turn 4, and then boom, this guy is huge and is able to just wreck your opponent. I'm so excited to see that. This is Morgan Elsbeth. 4 cost 3/6, restore 1, force Imperial Official. On attack, you may defeat another friendly unit if you do draw a card. This is Palpatine's ability on a stick, a better stick than Palpatine in some ways. A 4 cost 3/6 with force Imperial Official is pretty awesome. Restore 1, awesome. That on attack, great. I think this will see a ton of play in those slower decks, though it's tough because Lom Pike was already best friends with these like slower mid-range control decks. This guy, or Morgan Elsbeth, this girl, I think may be better in some cases. Maybe not every case, but in some decks, you're going to want that restore 1 and that force trait. Maybe we start seeing a little bit more force throw in villainy. We've seen a lot of it in heroism, but maybe we start seeing more of it in villainy because of strong force units like Morgan Elsbeth. She's the keeper of many secrets, but it's no secret that this card is a good one. Then we got the Devastating Gunship, a 5 cost 3/5 space unit. Grit and when played, defeat an enemy unit with 2 or less remaining HP. This feels okay. You're getting rid of a token unit, basically. I don't love it, though. It's not a big effect for a 5-drop, but maybe it's just enough of an effect for a 5-drop. A grit unit in space is nice, though, because space units tend to be a little bit smaller, so rarely are you able to just wipe out this gunship in one go, though many decks that are running like heavy space units can in 1 or 2 hits, and you might not be able to use it. So I think it's a fine enough card. It's probably pretty good in sealed formats, but I don't know if it's going to see tons of constructed play. Oh gosh, I'm getting choked up just thinking about this guy. This is the Droideka Security. This is the card that you have already heard about. Take a deep breath with me. He's a 6 cost, 4/5, exploit 2, and Sentinel. I know he doesn't have shielded. I think he's still an okay card. I would be fine paying 2 and 2 battle droids for a 4/5 Sentinel. So I think this guy's probably going to see some play. If not in standard, definitely in limited. So I feel pretty good about this card. It's generic, but that's fine. You need these sort of cards in a set like this. Then you got the Providence Destroyer, an 8 cost, 5/7 space unit with exploit 2, and on attack give an enemy space unit -2/-2 for the phase. So this could be a 4 cost, 5/7 space unit, and I think that's a fine strategy to work towards, honestly. I think that having your turn 1 and turn 2 play just get exploited for your turn 3, 5/7 in space is going to be a solid play. We're going to see a lot of these space units be the payoffs for your exploit decks because it's tougher to deal with stuff in space. So I can totally see this being strong. The awkward part is actually that it's 5 attack, which means that it can get hit by Past the Rock. Oh my gosh, Fell the Dragon. There we go. This is a strong unit. It can get defeated though, so I don't think it's going to be an impossibly strong deck. But Separatist Vehicle and Capital Ship, they're strong tags. We will see Separatist and Capital Ship synergy as time goes on. So I think that this will be a good unit to cheat out early. That on attack is good for if your opponent doesn't have some sort of removal. You just keep blocking their ways to deal with it. This is pretty strong. I think it'll see some play. And I definitely think the Malevolence will see some play. This is Grievous' secret weapon, and it's a 9 cost 7/7 with exploit 4, restore 2, and when played, give an enemy unit -4/-0 for this phase. It can attack for this phase. This could be a 1 cost 7/7. Now granted, exploit 4 is a lot. When do you ever have 4 units out on the board? But I think this is a really, really, really strong card. Restore 2 and then locking an enemy unit out from attacking for the phase is really strong. I think that we will see this alongside Avenger and stuff like that in these like big capital ship control decks. I could maybe even see this taking the place of Devastator in some of those decks, because a 10/10 that like kills is strong, but this can come out earlier because of exploit. Maybe you run all three of them. Like, why not run all of them? Who knows? But I think this is a strong card. It also looks awesome in hyperspace. Like, this is such a cool art. I'm a big, big fan. This is a fine addition. It's a supply event for 0, and if an enemy unit was defeated this phase, play an upgrade from your hand or from any player's discard pile, ignoring its aspect penalty. This is your Grievous support card. I think it's kind of a meme, but maybe, just maybe, we run enough lightsabers in this metagame that a fine addition becomes an actual tech card against like General's Blade and stuff like that. This feels pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to see a ton of like relevant constructed play, but I kind of hope that it does, because it seems pretty neat. And then this is Lethal Crackdown. Defeat a non-leader unit, deal damage to your base equal to that unit's power. I want to like this card, but we have such strong effects at 4 anyways. I fail to see where this fits in, unless the name of the game is just redundancy. I think that taking damage on your base equal to that unit's power isn't as big of a deal in blue, but it still can be a pretty big deal. You definitely don't want to run into, some sort of aggro deck that can just kill you even after you've taken out one of their pieces, and 4 is a lot to do that. I think it's probably still going to see some play. Maybe it's in like a sideboard sort of thing, or maybe you run it for, blocking like a Fet's Fire. Fet's Fire Spray. Maybe that's what you do. But even then, I don't know if I love it. Yeah, it's pretty unlimited though, because because it doesn't have like a health or power restriction. It's just defeat a non-leader unit. That's pretty cool. So maybe it sees play because of that, because it's just so unrestrictive. So time will tell. We're now in Blue Hero. This is Barasafi. She is the unassuming apprentice. Perhaps we should have been more assuming of her. She's Force Jedi Republic as a 1/1, and each friendly unit that was healed this phase gets +1/+0. So she seems like Obi-Wan's buddy. I don't know if I love it. A 1-cost 1/1 does not feel good. I wish that she was like a 1-cost 1/2, or even a 1/3, maybe. Maybe she could have been a 2-cost 1/3. But like, how often are you healing tons of units? Like, we've yet to see a unit healing strategy really work, and I think that the same will apply here. It's not a big enough payoff for me to want to build around that. This is the Outspoken Representative, a 0/3 Republic official. While you control another Republic unit, this unit gains Sentinel, and when defeated, create a Clone Trooper token. I think that this might actually see some play. A 2-cost 0/3 Sentinel that curves really well into your next turn's play, where you're just playing a Republic tribal deck, which is really common with a lot of these cards, is just having the Republic tag on something. I think it's going to be pretty solid. And then you get a Clone Trooper token. That's like a strong effect. That's effectively a 2-cost like 0/5 with like a conditional 2 attack. I know that's kind of a weird way to think about it, but like your 2 attack isn't readily available, but you conditionally have like 5 health because a Clone Trooper gets made. It's a very weird way to think about it, but you're getting a lot of sticky board presence, and that's really strong. I think Outspoken Representative could see play. I don't know if it's going to see tons of play, but it's also pretty good and limited too, and it's common, so we'll be seeing some of it there. This is the Kashyyyk Defender, a 2-cost 0/5 grit, and when played, heal up to 2 damage from another unit and deal that much damage to this unit. I want to like it, but again, the like unit heal strategies have not been super duper common. Maybe with a little bit more time, this guy sees more play. He's also a Wookiee, so maybe he just hops into a Chewbacca like Wookiee tribal deck, and this just works. But I don't really love him. 2-cost 0/5 isn't great, even with grit. I wish he was like a 3-cost 0/7. That way, then I could like attack with my turn 1 play, and then give this guy like the ability to heal. But that's okay. That's not what he is. He's a 2-cost 0/5. This is the 41st Elite Corps. It's a 3-cost 3/3 Republic Clone Trooper with Coordinate. This unit gets +0/+3. Oh, Coordinate, my beloved. I want to like Coordinate. I think Coordinate is probably a little stronger than a lot of people give it credit for. People are calling it just a dead ability, and that you wouldn't run a 3-cost 3/3 with a blank text box, and that's true, you wouldn't. But I do think that every once in a while, Coordinate is going to be way easier to deal with than we give decks credit for. And for that reason, I could sort of see Coordinate being a fine effect. It's not going to be a good one, but I think it's probably on like the level of like Smuggle and Bounty, and that's kind of niche. Maybe it's a little bit better than those. Maybe it's way worse than both of those. Time will tell, but I think that it's being a little undersold right now just because it feels very whelming. It's not overwhelming. It's not underwhelming. It's just very whelming. In this case, Coordinate is underwhelming. A 3-cost 3/6 is really strong, but not strong enough for me to care. In blue, I can give it Sentinel if I'm playing mono blue, but I don't really want to be paying to do that. And then if I'm giving it Sentinel, then it's less likely to trigger the Coordinate because then the other it's dying before like other units are there. Maybe it protects your other units, but then I don't love it. Not a great card. Captain Typho, on the other hand, is a 3-cost 2/4 Naboo Republic Trooper. He's protecting the Senator, and when played on attack, give a unit Sentinel for this phase. I do like this guy. Typho's pretty cool. Giving a unit Sentinel for this phase is what we've seen in Riken, and Riken already sees niche play. Typho is earlier and just does a good job passing out Sentinel. He can give himself Sentinel too, and a 3-cost 2/4 with Sentinel is a card that already exists. This gives you some extra flexibility. Again, it's that conditional Sentinel, so you're getting like Sentinel at times, maybe when you want it and when you don't want it. So, pretty neat. I'm a fan. It's also, you have to give the unit Sentinel. It's not you may, it is give a unit Sentinel. So, all else fails, you have to give something Sentinel. So, that's important to note. This is Satine Kryze. She's committed to peace. She's a 4-cost 0/6 Mandalorian official, and each unit gains action exhaust. Discard cards from an opponent's deck equal to half this unit's remaining HP, rounded up. Oh boy, Mill is in Unlimited in its most exciting extent we've seen yet. This is a symmetrical effect. As a legendary, it is a strong card, but it is not just overwhelmingly powerful where it just gives you this effect. Your opponent also gets this effect as well on all of their units. I think that Mill will find a way into this metagame. The question is, will Mill be able to close out games? Because dealing a lot of damage is tough, even when you are taking 6 every turn. If your opponent is playing some sort of heal-heavy deck, that can be really, really difficult to actually deal with. So I think Satine will be strong. I don't know if she will see tons of competitive play, but I imagine a lot of people will want her to see competitive play. And maybe a lot more people will not want her to see competitive play. But I think she will show up. There will be decks that are built around her and the other cards that are in her package, which I'll talk more about later, because there's some strong cards that fit in with this Mandalorian Mill deck archetype. This is Obi-Wan's Aether Sprite. It's a 5-cost 4/6 Jedi Republic Vehicle Fighter Space Unit, and when played on attack, you may deal 1 damage to this unit and 2 damage to another space unit. This card is pretty cool. This card gives you payoff for Obi-Wan. This card will see play. I think that dealing 2 damage to another space unit is really strong. You can also ambush this in with ECL, so then that is dealing 4 damage to another space unit for the cost of 2 damage on your unit. I think that's pretty strong. So I expect that Obi-Wan's Aether Sprite will continue to see some play in those sort of decks, the sort of decks that like want to be dealing with space units in an efficient way. The damage doesn't mean a lot when you're playing Obi-Wan, so this will probably go into an Obi-Wan deck if that shows up. I also think this is a really good card in Limited. A 5-cost 4/5 that deals 2 damage to a space unit is strong, so I think that'll see some play in Limited. This is the Knight of the Republic, perhaps the most underwhelming card in the set. If not the most underwhelming, it's pretty close. 6-cost 4/7 Force Jedi Republic. When this trooper is attacked, create a clone trooper token. Couldn't this guy have been like a 3/7 with Sentinel? It's just a little sad. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's going to see a lot of play. I don't even know if he's like great in Limited. Like he's fine in Limited, but a 6-cost 4/7 that doesn't do anything. It's nice. It's not amazing, but maybe he'll see play there where you just get a lot of value out of that. Your opponent has to take it down. There's less like straight up good removal in this set than there was in sets 1 and 2. So I think that maybe this guy does see play because of that. So we'll see. I said sees play. I meant in Limited. In Standard, if this guy's in your deck, you rethink how you're building your deck. This guy's not good. Luminara and Dooley, the soft-spoken master. 7-cost 4/9, coordinate grit. When played, choose a base, heal 1 damage from it for each unit you control. So this is big, big wide board payoff. I think that I would like this more if it was in green, but it's not really green's identity. So maybe she sees play because in Han 2 Blue, she can come in as a 4/7 for 6, which is like the standard for 6, and then has the potential to get Grit, which becomes a 6/7 for 6, and Force Jedi Republic are strong traits. Healing damage from from a base is good. You're healing at least 1 damage because she comes into play. So I can sort of see her seeing some play. Maybe she's better than I expect. Maybe I am underwhelming or I'm under-evaluating Coordinate like I have claimed others are. So Luminara will at least show up at times in Limited because she's pretty cool and is a 4/9. That's a big body. So I can see her seeing some play in Fringe decks. Maybe Han 2 Blue. This is for the Republic. It's a 3-cost upgrade that gives +2/+2, and if you control 3 or more Republic units, this upgrade costs 2 less to play. That's pretty awesome. A 1-cost +2/+2 is great, and attached unit gains Coordinate Restore 2. Also pretty great. The problem is, both of those things are contingent on having 3 or more Republic units, or 3 or more units, I guess, for Coordinate, and then 3 or more Republic units for the cost reduction. I wish that this was better, but 3-cost +2/+2 is bad, and 3-cost +2/+2 with a blank text box most of the time is even worse. So maybe to see some Fringe play if Coordinate ends up being better, but as of right now, I need to see more payoffs, or I need to see more generators before I'm dealing with these payoffs. I just don't think that the cards are going to last as long as you would like. Though again, maybe in some weird cases, you're able to just keep a board more than you expect. That might be the case here. This is Hello There, 3-cost. Trick. Event. Choose a unit that entered play this phase. It gets -4/-4 for this phase. This is Heroes Power of the Dark Side, but some ways better. This actually works on leaders to give them -4 attack. That's pretty cool. It can also kill them, I guess. Like Kira and stuff like that can just be killed by this. But I think it's pretty cool. This card will see a lot of play. It is a strong, strong event. Finn is our first double blue card. He's a 3-cost, 3/4 Fringe Trooper. He is on the run, and when this unit completes an attack, choose a unique unit. For this phase, if damage would be dealt to that unit, prevent 1 of that damage. Choose a unique unit. For this phase, if damage would be dealt to that unit, prevent 1 of that damage. And it's after he completes an attack. I'm just letting this soak in really quick because I think that as a double blue, this probably could have been a stronger effect. I don't even know if I want to like this because I don't even know in what deck I would want to run this in. Yeah, I'm going to say bad card. Not a good card in Limited because it's double blue. Not a good card to pull from a pack because it's a rare. So, I'm sorry, Finn. Just like in the movies, you are an underwhelming character with a lot of great potential. This is Duchess's Champion. Speaking of characters with a lot of potential, this is a 4-cost double blue, 1/8 Mandalorian. While an opponent controls 3 or more units, this unit gains Sentinel. This card is what allows you to do mill. You are going to be wanting to run double blue for your mill Satine decks because a 1/8 that gets a conditional Sentinel is really, really strong. This is going to be great because you're going to be milling 4 cards from your deck or from your opponent's deck with Satine. So turn 4 you drop this, or turn 3 you drop this, turn 4 you drop Satine. You can immediately exhaust him and mill 4. I think that's pretty great. Duchess's Champion will see play if Satine sees play. Otherwise, Conditional Sentinel is not great. I don't love Conditional Sentinel, but if Coordinate becomes rampant, this guy is your counter. Equalize, 3-cost double blue event. It's a tactic and give a unit -2/-2 for this phase. Then if you control fewer units than that unit's controller, give another unit -2/-2 for this phase. Yeah, again, I want to like it, but I don't know if I love it. Double blue is cool, but right now we're not seeing control decks be double blue. Maybe we will as mill becomes bigger. If like mill becomes a whole thing with double blue, I can see this showing up. But I don't know if I absolutely love it. I would say that Equalize is a good card. It's not a great card. It's got cool art. But I don't know if it's going to see tons and tons and tons and tons of play. This is the Compassionate Senator. This card, this is one of the ones that's in the kind of a set of senators. Each color got its own senator. And it's a 1-cost card that has an action that costs 2 and exhausts to do an additional effect. In this case, it's heal 2 damage from a unit or a base. People don't play the 1-cost repair that heals 3 damage from a unit or base too often. And I don't think that because this is a Republic official and is a 0/4 body that people will play it either. In this scenario, why would I not just run Moisture Farmer? That feels better. Or even the droid, the medical droid from set 1. Like, that's a 1-cost 1/3. I would just rather run that. This card feels bad. And I wish it was better. If it was like a free action, that might actually see some play. If it was a 1-cost action, maybe niche play. But like, that's for 2 costs, that's so expensive. That's not going to see any play. Warrior Drone, 1-cost 1/4 Separatist. 1-cost 1/4. That's worth looking at. Upgrades become better on this guy. I think that this will see some sort of play at some point in the history of SWU, because a 1-cost 1/4 becomes very, very big if you add upgrades to it. So if we ever hit a critical mass of good upgrades, maybe this guy is the guy to use them. The Padawan Starfighter is a 2-cost 1/3 Jedi Republic vehicle fighter, and while you control a Force unit or a Force upgrade, this unit gets +1/+1. So it can be a 2-cost 2/4 in space. Pretty solid. I don't love it that it's contingent on other units, so for that reason, I'm probably going to say this is not a great card. Railguard Attaché, 2-cost 2/5 ground unit. When played, deal 2 damage to this unit. Naboo Trooper. This card I like because he's a 2-cost 2/4 with Obi-Wan, but he also is really, really strong with covert. Is it covert operations? Covert strength? I forget what it is. The 1-cost blue event that has smuggle. Next turn, you can smuggle, heal the 2 damage back from this guy, and give him an additional XP, becoming a 3/7. That's pretty strong. I like that. So for that reason, I think this guy will see some play. He's a strong like 1-2 punch, and that card, the covert thing, which I am forgetting the other word for, that is going to be another strong option for these blue board-based decks. The Trade Federation Shuttle is a 3-cost space unit, Separatist vehicle transport, 2/3. When played, if you control a damaged unit, create a battle droid token. I actually think that this might see some play in like an Obi-Wan deck, which is weird because why would Obi-Wan be making battle droids? But it's the sort of deck that's going to want to trade and have damaged units in order to get the healing bonuses. So this is also a nice follow-up from your Royal Guard Attaché, because then you get a 2/3 and a 1/1 for playing a 2/3 turn 1. So that's pretty solid. I think this will probably see some play. It's definitely going to see some play in Limited, where this becomes pretty strong. Oh, I think I skipped one. There we go. Daughter of Dathomir, 4-cost 3/5. While this unit is undamaged, it gains Restore 2. This is a Force and Knight. I don't like the art on this one. It feels like it's peering into my soul. But I do like this card. A 3/5 that has Restore 2 is strong. Force trait is strong. Knight trait is non-existent yet, but maybe it's worth something. I don't know. But I think that this is pretty neat. Undamaged units seems like that's the sort of thing that Obi-Wan might want. A 3/5 is easier to deal with than the 4/6 5-cost Sentinel thing from set 1. But maybe this is worth it because Obi-Wan gives us that critical mass of healing that we need. So I can see this being pretty okay. Probably pretty good and sealed for sure. This is Infantry of the 212th, which I'm realizing is now out of order because it's a 3-cost 2/4. It's Republic Clone Trooper with Coordinate Sentinel. Bad card. We have a 3-cost 2/4 with Sentinel. Why do we want one with Coordinate? Conditional Sentinel is only good if the condition is something we can meet easily. This is not something we can meet easily. This is a bad card. It's fine. It's bad in limited, but it's better in limited because we don't have access to the 3-cost 2/4 Sentinel. So, for that reason, I'm a little frustrated because the 2/12 are pretty stinking cool. This is a Vulture Interceptor Wing. It's a 4-cost 3/3 space unit with Separatist Droid Vehicle Fighter, and on attack given an enemy unit -1/-1 for this phase. This is pretty solid. I wish that it was like a 4/3, but I see why it's not. Giving an enemy unit -1/-1 is solid. You're able to deal with Space Sentinels. This can punch up into the, whatever it's called, the System Patrol Craft, and also into the Mandalorian Fighter. Those things are pretty great, and they're seeing play. The problem is this comes out a little bit later than those, so I don't know if it's going to see tons of play. Probably pretty solid and limited. Ki-Adi-Mundi, another legendary. 5-cost, 5/7, Force Jedi Republic with Coordinate. When an opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. So, this card will see play for 2 reasons. He will see play because he is a 5-cost Force Jedi Republic character with good stats. A 5/7 is strong for 5. The second reason he'll see play is because a 4-cost 5/5 is strong with Han. Otherwise, I think the Coordinate effect is niche. It's weird, but it's strong if it happens, but you're not really looking for it to happen. So, Ki-Adi-Mundi, pretty cool. Definitely not my favorite character in the canon, but, fine enough unit. He'll probably see some play. I expect this guy to be anywhere like the $5 to $10 range, unless he just takes off as the best card in some sort of like Han 2 blue deck. The Falchion Ion Tank is a 6-cost 4/6 Sentinel. You can discern how I feel about this card by the fact that we're going to move on. This is the Multi-Troop Transport. 7-cost 3/6 Separatist Vehicle Tank. Exploit 2. On attack, create a Battle Droid token. So this could be a 3-cost 3/6, which I like. Exploit 2 is pretty good. On attack, create a Battle Droid token is pretty good. I wonder if this will ever make the cut, though, because it might just not be good enough. But maybe it is because it keeps making Battle Droid tokens. I don't know. Time will tell if this actually makes play in the exploit decks, but we only have so many slots in our deck before we've spent just 50 cards having payoffs for exploit, or having cards that are mediocre with exploit and not actually having good cards in our deck. This will see some play in limited, though, because it's a strong follow-up. It's like a 5-cost 3/6, where you're able to take out a token that you got incidentally. So I think we'll see it around. This is the Zillo Beast. Awoken from the depths, he's awesome. A 9-cost 10/10 creature. When played, give each enemy ground unit -5/-0 for this phase. Then when the regroup phase starts, you heal 5 damage from this unit. So, kill this guy quick is the name of the game. Funny enough, the damage that the laser, the Falchion Ion Tank or whatever, does, gets healed entirely away. And that was the thing that dealt a tiny bit of damage to it. I guess that's kind of thematic, that he just kind of shrugs it off eventually. But yeah, Zillo Beast seems pretty cool. This feels like a really, really strong way to keep your Crate Dragon safe. And it's blue. So maybe Han 2 blue runs this thing as a top end, as a 10/8 that then basically locks down the ground side for a round. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, it's pretty cool, pretty thematic, pretty awesome. I'm excited for when we hit some sort of creature deck. I don't know when that'll happen, but maybe we've got enough creatures now that you can run your creature feature. So this is pretty neat. I like Zillo Beast. It's pretty awesome. This is Foresight, a 1-cost 0/2 upgrade. Attached unit gains when the regroup phase starts. Name a card, then look at the top card of your deck. If it is the name card, you may reveal it and draw it. So I like this card, actually. I like it way more than I thought I would because of Yoda. Yoda is wanting to be able to have cards in hand just so he can then have even more options for when he's filtering. Foresight lets you do that. 1-cost 0/2 upgrade is pretty solid. On its own, you're getting what you pay for. But then the trigger being when the regroup phase starts and not at the start of the following round. I know that's weird, but it means that the regroup phase has started, so you've not drawn yet, which means that you can stack your deck using Yoda's ability. I don't think it's an amazing card, but I think it might see some play in Yoda just as a way to get easy draw. This seems pretty solid in some sort of draw-based deck. So Yoda seems like he might like this card. which makes sense as he is on it. Roger Roger is a 1-cost 1/1 upgrade. When defeated, attach this upgrade to a friendly battle droid token. If there's ever some sort of blue, like, droid-based token aggro deck, this card might see some play. Otherwise, I don't love it because you're just going to be wanting to exploit your battle droids most of the time anyways in blue, and that is not what you want to do with Roger Roger. Perilous Position, 3-cost upgrade. When played, exhaust attached unit, -2/-2. Remember, you can attach upgrades to enemy units. I actually don't hate this. 3-cost -2/-2 permanently is better than 3-cost -2/-2 that we've seen conditionally for the round in previous cards. So I think this is pretty cool. Exhausting an attached unit is great too. This goes on to leaders. I actually don't hate this card. I think it could see some play. It's a common too, so like you're hitting it more often in your packs. I could totally see this seeing some level of play. Unshakable Will, on the other hand, is a 4-cost +2/+2 upgrade that gives the attached unit Sentinel. I think it's just too expensive. If it was a 3-cost +2/+2, I think this would see some play, but 4-cost is so expensive. You are rarely ever going to want to give a unit Sentinel so badly that you are willing to pay 4 for it, even if you are getting +2/+2. So that's my opinion. 1-cost event, I have the high ground. Choose a friendly unit. Each enemy unit gets -4/-0 while attacking that unit this phase. I wish that there was a card that was like Anakin's kickflip, where like he attacks, and if he has had his like attack reduced, then like, you know, he like dies or something like that. Some very niche card. I know that wouldn't have made any sense, but you would think that this card would be pretty good, and you might be right. I don't know if I love it, but it is a really, really unique form of like pseudo nullification, pseudo removal. Like you are keeping your units protected, and you're doing so by like sort of frustrating your opponent's plans. I don't think it'll see tons of play because it only works on a single unit. If it was like every unit that you controlled was, you know, protected in this way, that would be pretty awesome. But it's not great in terms of this card. So maybe it sees some play because of stuff like Obi-Wan leader and Obi-Wan unit from set 1, where you're able to just block them for a round. But most of the time when you play a Sentinel, you're kind of wanting to get the bonus effect of like whatever that when defeated is with Obi-Wan's Sentinel unit. But unit leader, maybe this is pretty good, as like you flip him and then suddenly he becomes really tough to deal with. I don't know. I could see it seeing some play. Grievous Reassembly is a 2-cost supply event. Heal 3 damage from a unit. Create a battle droid token. I don't like it. Repair, again, doesn't see tons of play. Creating a battle droid token means that you can effectively see this as like a 1/1 event that gives you a 1/1 unit, or a 1-cost event that gives you a 1-cost unit, but I don't like it, so I don't think it's going to see play. Guarding the Way is a better way to give your unit Sentinel. Give a unit Sentinel for this phase. If you have the initiative, also give this unit, or that unit, +2/+2 for this phase. This is pretty cool. I like it because it gives you the Baze Malbus effect on an event. There are going to be times where you want to just play this, take the initiative, boom, you've got a big Sentinel. They can't do anything about it. They're going to want to just pass. This is pretty strong into aggro. I think this card will see some play in like the tech section of an aggro killer deck. Disruptive Burst is a 3-cost event. Give each enemy unit -1/-1 for this phase. If you really freaking hate battle droid tokens, this thing is your card. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to see tons of play. The fact that it gives -1 attack means that it's not ever going to be truly dead, but it's going to be pretty weak most of the time. I think it's probably good at 3 costs because it would probably be really good at 2 cost. But for 3 costs, I don't think it's going to see tons of play. Death by Droids. Defeat a unit that costs 3 or less to create 2 battle droid tokens. Again, I'm seeing battle droid tokens as like 1-cost units, and effectively this becomes a like 3-cost event that defeats a unit that costs 3 or less. The problem is that it's not a 3-cost event. It's a 5-cost event that gives you 2 extra resources worth of value. So I don't know. Maybe it sees play in a deck that just really needs battle droids for exploits, and then you can effectively see this as like you are banking resources, so this becomes a 1-cost event in some ways. I don't know. I don't love it, but maybe if like super tall decks become a thing, this will stop them. here we are. The last card in blue. This is the Invasion of Christophsis. It's a 15 cost event that is a separatist plan with Exploit 4. Choose an opponent. Defeat each player. Defeat each player. Yikes. Defeat each unit that player controls. So effectively, because of Exploit 4, this becomes a 7 cost board wipe if you have 4 units on board, because it probably gets rid of all of your units too. It is technically a one-sided board wipe, but it's also so expensive that when are you ever going to have this be one-sided unless you are killing a bunch of 1/1s, to which case then you could have been doing something else with them. I don't think it's very good. I think this is going to be a legendary that's like $5 at the most. Maybe Exploit just becomes so popular that you're able to pull this off, but I don't think it will be. So, who knows? I like the art though. It's pretty cool. French Carlomagno. I'm so sorry, French. I'm mispronouncing your name. Is a great artist, and I have enjoyed a lot of the art that they've done for this game. So, at least you get pretty art. And that has been blue. That has been our Vigilance section for Twilight of the Republic. Let me know down below if I got anything wrong, if you think that I've got some sort of sleeper that I have just completely ignored, or if there's just some card that you're like, man, that is the coolest card that I've seen so far. So comment down below what your favorite card was from today, and I will catch you in our next spoiler review, our Green Command spoiler review. You can catch that tomorrow here on Acorn Hobbies, and I will see you then. Bye.